In these videos, I'm going a little bit fast because I don't want to bog you down with a whole lot of watching time. But if you're feeling like it's moving too fast, then just go back and watch the videos a few times until they make sense. Sometimes we have to be told things several times. I notice that with myself, sometimes 5 or 6 times, and then I've learned something. So just expect that to happen. So on page 7 and 8, we're going to start pentascales. These are really important because these are going to not only exercise your fingers and strengthen your arm, all of the muscles that enable you to play the piano are going to be strengthened by these exercises, but also they're going to teach you chords, and chords are kind of the most wonderful and important thing about playing the piano because it's what makes it an instrument that sounds like an orchestra. It's a very full sound as opposed to maybe a violin or a trumpet where you're just playing one note at a time. So chords are very important. Chords are 2 or more notes put together that sound good. Pentascales are the first 5 notes of a scale. So you probably have heard sometime in your life somebody playing a scale, or maybe you played them. So when you go from C to C on all the white keys, that's called a C scale, specifically called a C major scale. If you play just the first 5 notes, that's called a pentascale. Pentascale is important because chords, the basic major chords, are based on those 5 notes. So if you played the first, third, 5th note of a scale, that is a C chord. So on the left hand, the first, the third, the 5th note of a C scale is a C chord. So now I wanted to talk a little bit about flats and sharps on page 8. A flat lowers a key a half a step down to the left, and a sharp raises a key a half step up to the right. Half step means from here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here. Those are all half steps. If they don't skip anything in between and they just go from one note to the very next note, that's a half step. A whole step is 2 halves. Here to here, here to here, that's a whole step. That's a whole step. From here to here is a whole step because it's a half plus a half. That's a whole step. That's a whole step. So half steps move like this. Either you're going to go up a half step from a C to a C sharp, or you're going to go down a half step. We would call this a D and this a D flat. So you might say, well, this one note, why does it have 2 different names? That's going to become more clear in the future. When we're talking about scales, you will be able to see why. Sometimes we call this a D flat, sometimes we call this a C sharp. For now, suffice it to say that all keys have 2 names. This note is a C sharp and a D flat, and this note is a D sharp and an E flat. This note is an F sharp and a G flat. And even the white keys have sharp and flat names, but we're going to talk about that later. So you're going to fill in this box here. Which key is a half step above C? Well, it would be a C sharp or a D flat. So you're going to write C sharp or D flat. So to write a sharp, it's like a tic-tac-toe. And the flat you can see on this page, it's got a stem, and then it looks kind of like a half heart, or kids will often think of it as a lowercase b that's kind of pointy at the bottom. But anyway, I think of it as a half heart. So this note is a C sharp or a D flat. See if you can fill the rest of these in. And then after you fill those in, go to the back of the book where it says Basic Hand Strengthening Exercises. That's in Appendix 1, and we're going to do those exercises next.